Hi, everyone. Welcome. I am very excited today because I have a very special guest, and this is one of the Topican Healing Certified Practitioners that graduated in 2022. And we're going to be talking about just like how she, went on your healing journey, got into Topican 1, level 2, and what she's passionate about. So, very, very happy to welcome you, Cindy Okroj.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, this is really exciting. Now, I know that you've been a professional healer for quite some time, but maybe walk us back a little bit about when, like, when did you decide, or what were you doing, to make you prompt into, okay, I really want to be a healer. Because most people, when they're children, don't really think that is the first thing. They want to be a teacher, they want to be a fireman, but what made you think that you want to be a healer?
Actually, it did start back in secondary school.
Oh,
I've
wow.
always known I wanted to help people. I even was a candy striper in high school and received a little award for that.
Wow.
And went from high school into a baccalaureate program in nursing. And I spent almost 40 years in nursing
Wow.
and helping not only patients, and then I realized at one point that I wanted to help the nurses
Mm.
because they themselves were struggling so much.
Oh my gosh, that's great. And I definitely nurses are near to dear to my heart. Being a medical doctor and knowing what
Mhm.
what we put them through sometimes, what they have to put up with, and everything that they're truly responsible for. And my niece actually is becoming an RN. Um,
Oh, lovely.
so yeah, that's really neat. So how did you transition from the RN role to becoming in your own practice, and what was your journey there?
Well, it was very interesting, really. I probably the last long-term job that I had was running a health unit in an American embassy overseas. And on one hand, that was transitioning from, okay, the doctor always tells me what to do, to having to think more for myself and what's going on and looking at everything. And actually, just I'm going to back up to the job before that. I met someone who was a Reiki master teacher, and she exuded love. And I was like, I want more of that. So
Mm.
I just, I went and became a Reiki master teacher. And then when I was in Qatar, which is where I was living and working at the embassy, I started having a lot of personal health issues and was really following, I would say, allopathic um, guidance. And I had a regional medical officer who was also an acupuncturist who said, I wonder if your allergies are creating all of this. And so she opened my eyes to looking at things very, very differently. And when I was home on holiday um, one year, I met someone who did a technique called Nambudirpad's allergy elimination technique. And I started working with her. And and that's a process actually. The exciting thing was I accomplished a certain amount in the months that I was home. And the next time I was at a nursing seminar, which happened to be in Singapore, I went to a medical doctor who was also doing NAET there. And she goes, "You're a nurse. You can learn to do this for yourself." And it was like, oh, because I lived in Qatar where there was no one there at the time that did this work. And so I learned that. I then also learned the importance of emotions and how they can contribute or create allergies for us. And I listened to Dr. Bradley Nelson give a talk on the emotion code. And it was like, oh my goodness, this is such a simple technique, so efficient, so fast. I have to learn this. And really haven't looked back from that. I would say I started doing some of these things as, I'll call it, a side hustle when I was living overseas. And when my husband retired in 2013, he looked at me and said, "Okay, your turn, you go for it." And I was like, ah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. It was like shocking, really. And then that summer, also, actually, I saw you at Dr. Bradley
Oh,
Nelson's The Body Code seminar.
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I haven't looked back from there. I did a mentorship with Dr. Nelson for a year and a half. I also learned three-dimensional therapy, which will soon become the belief code.
Mm.
And it took me a while before I was ready for Topican healing. When I was first exposed to it, um, it, again, I wasn't ready for it. So it didn't really pull me. But then in 2021, I began taking Topican level 1, and wow.
So wait a second, back up a little bit. So
Okay.
you're certified in emotion code, body code?
Yes.
Okay, and T3?
And T3, yes.
Okay. So, and you said you weren't ready for Topican, or at least looking back, you said you weren't ready for that, but then you did take it. So what was the
Mhm.
shift? Like, what was the difference?
Oh, wow. I had been struggling with a frozen shoulder,
Oh, okay.
and it made such a significant shift for me working with Topican healing, especially the feet protocol,
Mm.
in reducing my pain and allowing healing to accelerate. And, as I dove into all the different aspects of it, and I really felt like it took me almost a year, to really go more into detail and get there. And then, of course, at the beginning of 2023, I was like, when can I certify? When can I certify?
That's great. I love how you just love to learn, and then when you're ready, you just dive in and you learn all these things. And so, how long have you had like an actual practice where you've been seeing people, or they've been seeing you rather, whether it be emotion code, body code, or Topican? Like, when did that start?
Aside from the side hustle when I was overseas, it really began in 2013, and I started creating my company, Bonaccord Allergy and Wellness, and all that is.
Ah, okay, okay. And so you have again all the other skill sets, including the NAET, right? So you
Yes.
have multiple certifications, multiple experiences. What made you decide to do the Topican level 2?
Well, it's very, very important to me to be in integrity. And I really wanted to offer this to my clients free, and when I say freely, I really mean in the right way. And
Mhm.
so I felt that certification was very important for me to do that so that I could, really be true to Topican healing.
Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. That integrity piece is also really important to me. It's one of my core values, probably
Mhm,
why we get along so well. We have similar core values.
mhm.
So can you share maybe some stories, either for yourself, family, or clients, without saying their names, of course, of some positive results you've had from doing Topican healing?
Well, one of my favorite clients during the process of doing my case studies for Topican healing was a young lady who was having work challenges. She had been in what she thought was a positive work situation, and she was moving overseas to go to this work situation, which she had done temporarily. And when she got there, it was like, oh, I thought this was a positive atmosphere. Not so much anymore. And her energy and motivation for self care and self love was very low. She was having a lot of trouble focusing. She felt she wasn't using the time that she had. And this was very distressful for her. And immediately after our session, she really felt, and she used to be a healer, although she had stepped onto a different path at this point, but she really felt her crown chakra open up. And she goes, "Oh, I'm plugged in again." And she felt, "I feel so much better, more aligned, more balanced." And then within a couple days, she told me the work situation was improving. The things people were saying were not having an emotional effect on her like they had, and that she could refocus things. For the self-care, self-love aspect that we worked on, she felt she had some more energy and she could catch herself more quickly. She could put her focus and her motivation back to where it needed to be and keep enough for herself as well, which is huge, you know?
Wow. Yeah, that's
And
great. How long, I mean, how many sessions did you do for her to get that kind of result?
we did one session that did not focus on these issues. This
Yeah.
was out of one session.
Wow. Wow.
It was so cool.
Well,
You
that's
know, it's
fantastic
so
because you changed
powerful.
your whole life,
Very
right?
much
Because I
so.
mean, I can just imagine, someone goes overseas, it wasn't what they thought. Like it could be like a
Mhm.
nightmare, it could be years of like crazy nightmarish stuff, and in one session to be able to shift that so greatly, that is fantastic.
Mm. It's
How about for you? I mean, anything like personal healing that you could share, a story or anything?
you know, this is very much, um, I have been able to clear so many layers of issues. I think I've been a healer for a long, long time. One of the big things that I used to do is take on everybody else's stuff. And that was so challenging for me. And it took me a long time to realize that that's what I'm doing and or was doing. And Topican has really helped me develop quick approaches to clearing out energies that are not mine so that I'm not burdened by carrying them all the time. And it's also actually helped me with my husband. Um,
Mm.
he is having health challenges and was having a lot of, actually, we worked on some issues he was having related to his digestive health, I'm going to call it. But he had also been experiencing, due to medications he'd received, some neuropathy. And that shifted most significantly after this one case study session that we did, which was so exciting because it was an unanticipated effect. I
Wow.
know, it was
Wow.
delightful.
Oh, that's right, because he was one of your volunteers, wasn't he?
Yes, that's
Well,
right.
that's great that your husband was willing to be a volunteer. So is he pretty open then to what you're doing? Because that's kind of weird sometimes, this healing stuff.
Well, yes, you know how a lot of that started was when I was doing my body code experience back in 2013, 2014. And I was in a different room. Now I'm in an isolated room when I do my work. But at that time, I was in a part of the kitchen, kind of a breakfast nook area. And he would be very quiet, but unbeknownst to me, he would kind of listen in. What is this? What is my wife doing? And it wasn't so much what I was doing that changed his mind. It was what the people were saying back to me about what was going on for them and how they were improving. And before long, he would say, "Oh, you have to go talk to Cindy," to people.
Wow. So he was
I
like
know.
referring people to you.
Yeah, he was
Oh,
became my best supporter.
oh, that is amazing. That is amazing. So we talked about a lot of the good stuff, right? How
Mhm.
about some of the challenges? So in level two, if you were to
Uh,
say, yeah, I had some challenges, what would what would those be, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Well, probably the most challenge where I found myself kind of tending to dig in my heels a little bit was the marketing training. I had gotten into a flow, getting word of mouth referrals, being found online. And it's like people came to me, and I was getting challenged to think bigger. And, you know, you brought that forth in so many ways throughout our Topican training to really help us confidently, I'm going to say, evolve to where we could build our own practice. And I was just challenged really to expand my horizons and face my personal blocks. And I was discovering tools that made the process easier, the healing easier. It was just really wonderful.
Oh, wow. Wow, that's fantastic to hear. And it is a lot of times for healers. There's a lot of healers that are amazing, talented healers, but they're not really making any money.
That's
And
true.
I mean, you were the exception. You were making money even before, coming into level two. But there are a lot of, like you said, sometimes there's blocks and things and
Mhm.
assumptions that we made, things we were taught, things we were conditioned to believe that aren't actually true and actually don't serve because it keeps us small. And when we're small, we don't necessarily serve the people that really need us. So, the
That's
focus is
true.
really on how do we serve. And I think you've stepped into that really beautifully. So yeah, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, what kind of client would you say would be your ideal client? Like, what would be the best fit for what you do, your passion?
Well, I like to call myself the life reclamation and transformation sensei. And I love working with women and their families who are facing health, life, and relationship challenges, and to release disharmonious energy, rebalance relationships, rejuvenate health, to regain harmony and joy in their lives. And that gets me so excited. And I'm so passionate about helping people love themselves again and to radiantly step into being the gift that they are to the world. You
Mm,
know, so many times I think that we're taught directly or indirectly that we're broken,
yep.
and we aren't, you know? And I love working with people that are open to those challenges and
Oh, that's
changing
beautiful.
them, you know?
I love it. I love it. I could feel and hear the passion in your voice. That's fantastic. And I'm just so happy to hear that. So how would, if somebody aligns with you, feels a resonance, where do they go? How do they start maybe connecting with you and figuring out whether it's a good fit for the relationship?
Well, on my webpage, yourbonaccord.com, is a little orange pop-up that says schedule with me, and they would schedule a discovery session. And
Mhm.
so it's a wonderful way for us to meet each other. I have a wonderful opportunity to learn about their pain points, about their goals, and what they would like to achieve, and then answer any questions that they may have to decide if we're a good fit to work together.
Okay, okay. So just to clarify, this is really like a fit, see if it's a fit, right? To you kind of interviewing them and making sure it's a fit. It's not a healing session, correct?
Now, I do maybe one kind of energetic release
Mm.
so that people have a sense of, oh, okay, this is what it would be like.
Oh, okay, okay. Like an example, do you do any
Yes.
assessments or mini assessments or anything like that?
Um, yes, when again, it depends on the issues that the client brings to the table, so to speak. Um, I like to do some brief assessment so that we can, once we start to work together, we can dive right in.
Yeah, I like to do that as well in my discovery interviews. Yes. Awesome. That's fantastic. Okay, so could you just say your website again?
www.yourbonaccord, BONACCORD.com. I chose that name. This is so cool, Bonaccord. So my husband's from Scotland and from the town of Aberdeen. And when I was creating my business, I wanted to kind of honor his support for me moving into this work. And Bonaccord was a code word used by the Scots when they were retaking their country back from the English. And I love that because I feel so much of what we're doing with this work is taking our lives back to where we thought they should be in the beginning.
Oh, that's neat. I was wondering. I didn't remember to ask you what the significance of the word was, and now that makes sense. Oh, that is super cool. Yeah, people taking their power back, right? Being
Absolutely.
sovereign. Oh, that's really great. So Cindy, before we go, I'd love for you to share maybe a piece of advice that you have for people on a healing journey.
Well, I really like to suggest we be open to life's miracles.
Hmm.
We often think of miracles in terms of big things, but they can be small. And everything that we do when we change our energy, whether it's releasing something or changing how we think, we change our lives for the better.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you. Yeah, we do often think big, 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 things, but like those little things, I mean, they add up and they accumulate and they make a
Absolutely.
huge difference over time. So thank you
Yes.
so much, Cynthia, for being here today and for sharing your journey and wisdom with our audience. And so love for people that if you're resonating with Cindy and what she's sharing today, she's absolutely a lovely light warrior and healer. And we'll put below this video the contact information so you can check out whether Cindy and you working together is a good fit. So thank you again, Cindy.
Thank you so much. It's such a joy to be with you today.
Same here.
Okay.
Bye for now.
Bye for now.